Hello friends, Ashton here. So today's project is about a tiny system for booking and cancellation with Google Form and Google Calendar. Okay, so here is the project. So the normal process is going to be like this. So the first, you are going to have two forms, one for booking and one for cancellation. And in your Google Calendar, you're going to have a calendar which is designed to enter any events that is available for you. Maybe you can enter in some event there, and this event is going to be added automatically as a drop-down list items in the booking form, so your users can pick one of them for booking with you. And then in the cancellation form, they can, so when the user books some events, they'll be able to cancel it if they want. So this is basically the process. Okay, so let me give you a very quick demo here. And so in this folder here, I have all the files I need. I have a Google Sheet here, and I have two forms, one for cancellation, one for booking, and they all connected to one single spreadsheet like this. So I have the booking form and the cancellation form, both of them connected to one single file. And so if I'm checking this booking form right now, I have 3 events here. So I did before this video, so I did some tests. So let me show you if I added, what if I added a new event in the calendar. So remember the calendar, the events. So right now I'm using this calendar called booking here for this system. So if I added any new events here, so I call it for maybe YouTube, and I'm going to save it. And when I add any new event here or did some change to the events, it's going to update the form items here. So right now, as you can see, I have YouTube here for these new events. So basically any events update in your calendar is going to update this booking form. So basically update this booking fields. So all of these items here. So right now what I can do, I can go to this form and I'd like to book in this YouTube, and I can put my name here. I'm going to add this is a test for YouTube video. I'm going to submit this one, and when I submit this one for booking, so that means I booked events. So if I'm checking these events here right now, you can see these events have been updated, and it's going to send this invitation to myself, right? So, and also updated the title and apply a color for these booked events. So you'll see the difference. And in our form or in the response here, you will see we have this information here, booked. So this is basically the booking process in the calendar and in the Google form. And in the cancellation form here, we can do here if I'm trying to cancel that event. So to make sure we are using the same email address, so we are using email address to identify users. So this is a cancellation for YouTube video. So I'm going to cancel it like this, and it's going to cancel the event for us. So you will see here, so this one is canceled. So this is the default title we can set in the settings. I'm going to show you later how we can customize all of these informations here. And it's going to set a canceled status, basically set a color for a different color for these canceled events. And then the users in the booking form can do this this booking again. So this is the one, I think, if I'm checking the time here. So right now we have 4 here. The YouTube is gone because the YouTube is booked and canceled. And then we have a description or a title for this one, like this. Okay, so that's basically the process. And we have some email here. So this is the email message for the booking. So if any events is booked, and here we have a link to do the cancellation, and there is another email for the cancellation. You can customize all of this subject or the content if you want to customize it. You can do the customization in the settings, and we also have a link here, so you can do the book again with this link. So that's basically the process to use this tool. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, you need to make a copy of the project file. So you will be able to find this link in the description of the video. So just copy this link and visit in the browser, and you should be able to make a copy of this file. So right now I'm using a test account here for testing, so you should be able to see the same as I'm doing here. So after I made a copy of this file, as you can see here, these forms, they also be copied to your Google Drive. So if I go to my Google Drive folder, so let me just create a folder for all of these files. And I'm going to move these files to this folder. So they're basically copied and linked together. So in this way, I think it's going to be a little bit easier for you guys to do some change later, because you maybe need to change the form a little bit. So before we do the change, let me show you what you need to do. So in this file, you can rename it, but the most important thing here is in this settings tab. Okay, so the first thing you need to do, you need to change this calendar ID, because so right now this ID, this calendar is on my original primary account here. So since I'm using another account, so I need to change this. So maybe I need to open the calendar, and I'm going to create a new calendar for this test. So let me just open the calendar. So here in your calendar, if you're trying to use your primary calendar, you can use it for sure. So I'm going to add another calendar. Just create a new calendar. I'm going to call it booking. So just create it. And you should be able to find the calendar ID. So right now we have this calendar, and you should be able to find the calendar ID somewhere. Yes, this is the calendar ID. So if you're trying to use your original one, you can go to the calendar settings, and you should be able to find the same thing, I think. The calendar ID. Do a search for calendar ID. Yes, the calendar ID. So for this one, this is a default calendar ID, just your email address. This is interesting. So I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to use this one we just created. So this is the calendar ID. Just copy this ID, and I'm going to paste it here. Okay. So this is first thing you need to do, and leave everything else just like the same, because we need to make a test first, and to make sure this is working, and then we can do the updates. Okay, so we change the calendar ID, and what else we can do here? We can run this function here to update events. So when you're trying to run any function, so since this is a new file, and you need to complete this authorization process. Advanced. Okay, so now if this is successful, so we can close this tab and go to the application here, and in the calendar. So to verify this is now working, so it's better to, if there is no events, we can add any events. I'm going to uncheck all of this. So make sure I have this calendar or events created in the booking calendar. Just cannot close this one. That's weird. So we are, make sure you are in the booking calendar. And now this is booking, right? So I'm going to call it YouTube and save it. And make sure this event is after the current time, okay? Because if the event is created before or in the past time, it won't be added to the form. All right, so when we do this change here, and if we go to the forms of booking, so right now you won't see the change because we have some triggers to be set up. So before we set up the trigger, let's try to run this update events in the booking form first. So this is going to manually update the events in the form. So this is to show you right now it's working, so it's updated the events. So we have that event here in August 17th, I think is this one, August 17th. So this is working at least for this function here. Now we can run this install triggers function, and this install triggers function is going to install some triggers in the project. So the first trigger is going to watch the events change on your calendar, and then it's also going to handle the form submission. And another trigger is going to run every 30 minutes. It's just to remove some events which is not valid anymore, so we can keep running this every 30 minutes. So if I click on yes, it's going to have all the triggers set up, and if it's been installed successfully, you should be able to see another. So if you go to the menu, you should be able to see the uninstall triggers function here. So what I can do here, I can try to create another task here in the calendar to make sure this trigger is now working. So YouTube number 2, and make sure this is in this calendar, okay? If you created in another calendar, it won't work. And it's created, and if I go to this form, so YouTube number 2, now this process is set up, okay? And we are trying to verify if the other process is working, so we can submit a event here, and I can pick number 1, and I'm going to guess 102, and this is a test, and now I can submit it. All right, so this one also is also copied from the settings. You can do the change, no problem for that in the settings. So now we have a response here. All right, so I need to go to the email to do a check here to see if I can get the email to make sure everything is working. Now we do have this email. Okay, we got all of this information, and I can open this cancellation form here, and I can do a cancellation. I'm going to submit it, and in the email I probably need a while to get this email. Alright, so now it's been cancelled, and if in the calendar this event should be cancelled like this because we are booking this one. And if we go to the booking form here, so this is the first one, YouTube 1, and right now it's updated to this title, so we can customize this information in the settings I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so this is basically to prove that the whole process is working this copy, okay, and then you can do more changes in the settings or your form. Okay, you can customize your form. So let me show you. We have some sections here in the settings. So the first part is about the names of the tab. Okay, so we have a cancellation. Just in case you want to rename it something different, you can, don't change the keys. Okay, don't change the values in column A. Just change the values. You can change the values in column B. Like for example, if I want to change this cancellation to something different, you can rename it. But to make sure this name in the tab is the same as this one here. All right, same for the booking. For this one, I think we can delete it because this is original design, so I'm going to remove it. So booking and cancellation, maybe some type of orders or canceled orders, something like that. so you can rename it. And the calendar ID, so this is very important, so you need to make sure your calendar ID is correct set up. And the calendar days, so this is basically how many days we are checking the events from today. So if I put 60 days, that means we are checking the events in your calendar for 60 days. So that means I can have basically showing your calendar in the next 60 days. But you can change the day, maybe 30 days, 15 days, or something like that. And the calendar minutes, so this is basically how many minutes we are trying to start from. So right now, because maybe in your calendar, if I create an event here, so this event is ignored because we have a 30 minutes. So basically we are checking the time. So this is current time. We are basically start the check after 30 minutes. So only the events after the 30 minutes, we are adding them to the booking form. So you can set up a 0 here if you always check the current events, because I think you need to have some buffer time just in case your client books some events is very urgent for you, right? So you can change this parameter here. And then we have the form settings here. So the first one is this title email. So basically this is the column which is email address is from, because we are using this as a very important information. Maybe in some other language this is not email address, always email address. So if this is not email address in your language, make sure you change the whatever language here is. So this is the value. Basically you need to get it from this email address column from either this form and this form. Okay. And the title for booking, so you could name this something different. So this is in your booking form, so this is the title in the booking form. So could be something like order number or something, I don't know. You want to customize it, so you need to make sure if you do the change on this booking title booking in the form, make sure this is also updated. And this one is a default message. So let me show you what the default message means here. So if I delete this one and delete this one, so that means there is no available events in my calendar. And if I go to this form here, so we're going to put a default item here, because there is no options here for booking. And also in the meantime, this form is disabled, okay, because there is no events for booking. So that's why logically is disabled like this. Okay, so that means it's not available for now until we add another event to the calendar, and then it's going to reactivate the form for you. So this is about this setting in the form section. And form event date, this is just like format, so D for date and M, capital M for months. So this is for the, let me show you what this is for. This is for this part. In case you want to customize it a little bit different, maybe you want to put the year here, something like year. You can do a change there in the settings. Maybe I can put a year, something like this. You can do the change for sure. Okay, and then we have a section for the events. So this for events title cancelled. So for any events which is cancelled, you can set a title for this kind of events. Okay, you can rename it. You can rename this name here. And for the event title booked, you also can give it a title, and you also can use placeholders. Like for example, if this title for booked, so you can use a name, because this name is from this column. So that means you can, in your form, where is my form here? You can add other fields. So right now we have name, notes, booking. So that means you can use booking as a placeholder, name as a placeholder, notes as a placeholder in your settings. Where is my settings? So name can be used as a placeholder, and as a description here, this is optional. So you can also add a description to the events. So as you can see here, we have a text here as a notes as a placeholder in the description for the events, and the events description for the cancelled. So you also can do that, but for most of the case, I think should be removed or something, set it to empty or something like that. And then you have the colors for your booked events or canceled events. So you can pick a color you prefer to use for canceled or booked events, and then it's going to help you to identify which is booked and which is canceled. All right, so this is about the events in the settings. And the last part, if you want to send email to the users, so you need to make sure this is checked. If this is unchecked, you won't send any email like this, okay, booked or canceled. And if you want to send email, you can customize the email subject for the booked email or canceled email. You also can use placeholders in the subject, and for the message, you have the same setup. So you can customize your message like this, and you can use HTML format if you want, and the placeholders can be used too, like this one. All right, so that's basically all the setup you can do, okay, all the changes you can do. And the last one I think is about this link. So this link here is added by the script, is not added in the email settings here, but you can do this, right? You can do this as an anchor or a link there in the HTML, but I added in the script for you, so we can always have a reference. So if it's cancelled, we have a link. If this is cancelled, we have a link to the booking form, and if this is booked, we have a link to the cancellation form. So this is basically the setup here in the code, and this part in the message is from your settings. Okay, so I think that's it for this. Though I think this is enough for you to understand the whole logic, and maybe some small tips or something we need to be careful to use, and to make sure in the form settings we are allow users to a limit to one response. So this is very important because we are using the email address. So if they have multiple inputs for one single user, we will not be able to identify which one is which one. So this is very important. This has to be turned on. And for the email, we have to collect the email address from the user, because we're using email address to identify the booking and the cancellation. So this is about the form settings. Okay, and another thing here is don't delete any response in your form, because I tested when I delete this response in the form, I mean the tab here is going to lose the reference. So next time when this user come to your form again and try to submit an event, it won't be imported to the spreadsheet. So that's something, maybe a bug in Google Form, I don't know, but this is what I learned. So don't delete any data in this spreadsheet. Okay, so I think that's it for this video, and let me know if any issues or questions. Thank you. Bye-bye.